Goal of the 9-yard line. Hamilton keeps it. Touchdown.
And we've got to thank God every minute of every day. I'm your boy, One Live Stu, Ryan Stewart, co-host of the Two Live Stews and the Two Live Stews Experience every Monday and Thursday right here on Stewart Media and Entertainment, which can be found on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and all the places where you want to enjoy some good content. Check us out every single Monday and Thursday at 7 a.m. But today, every single Wednesday, we've been doing it in the morning like we will do this morning. It is In the Huddle with your boy, Joe Ham. I will be co-hosting. Good morning, Brother Ham. How you doing today, sir?
I'm doing outstanding, my brother. Outstanding, man. Recently, I've been thinking about the reason why I'm doing so well is health, and just not my health. Father's Day's just passed. A week just went along, and I'm asking everybody how they're doing. And the first thing from my age and, 40 plus, even in the 30s, and definitely my mom and dad's age, I'm healthy, son.
Right.
Another day above water is great. My
Lord.
heart got checked out. I'm hearing my aunts and all got their annual checkup. My uncles, which are very important, are getting all those things done and not taking it for granted. Because again, I'm from the school, or I'm from the upbringing, or the notion that if nothing is wrong, we don't have to get a checkup.
Right.
I'm changing that narrative.
Right.
If I feel good, then I don't have to have that, colonoscopy. I don't have to have my heart checked or my blood work drawn and seeing the intestinal things going on. So that's the real health, in my opinion, these days, Stu. The real health. How you doing? I'm healthy. Are you healthy because you feel healthy, or you healthy because the reports from the doctors are saying so? So I'm doing well this Wednesday morning, my friend.
You just changed the trajectory of our start, but it's okay. That's what we do. It's okay. Sir, I had a conversation with my doctor when I was 45. Mm-hmm. I got my first colonoscopy, which they say black men need to get them at 50. I got my first colonoscopy at 47. At 48, after my annual checkup, which is every October, my doctor said, hey, man, numbers look good. You're doing XYZ. Proud of you. You brought your weight down. Your labs came back. Everything's wonderful. I'll see you next year. I said, no, sir. I'm getting closer to 50. I'll see you in 6 months. Ooh. He said, Mr. Stewart, that's unnecessary. I said, it's necessary for me. My father passed at 50. My grandfather passed at 50. I've got other Stewart men with the last name Stewart that were cousins that passed in their early 50s. Check me out.
Check me out. That is real.
Yeah, check me out. They told me after I got the colonoscopy at 48, okay, man, you're good for 7 years. I said, no, sir. I'll be back in 5. Check me out.
Yep.
I don't want no surprises. I'm off the pork. I'm off the beef. I drink 80 to 100 ounces of water daily. Check me out. I got these young kids. I want to be here. Everybody says, and I'll get to part B of this whole soliloquy here in a second. Everybody says the earlier you catch situations, the better. Check me out. Mm-hmm. I want to make sure that I'm good. I got these young churn here. Here's part 2. Today and 3 days for the next week, my church, St. Mary's United Methodist Church, off of St. Mary's Road, is having the St. Mary's United Methodist Church Health Fair. The pastor called me 2 weeks ago, and she said, Mr. Stewart, we've got this United Methodist Church Health Fair going on at St. Mary's, and I'm wondering if you could help me out. And whenever she calls, which isn't often, I say the same thing. Pastor, just let me know what you need me to do, okay? And she said, I'm hoping that you could do a couple of interviews for us that we've got set up on TV and on radio to let, the people in the area know that we're having the health fair where, you know, we're going to be doing vision screenings. We're going to be doing memory center dementia screenings. We're going to be doing therapeutic chair massages. You know, it's free. And I'm wondering if you'd be willing to be a spokesperson for us on these different networks. And I said, I love to. I love to. Because health is wealth. And in our community, Joe, we don't get checked out.
No, we don't.
In our community, if we're dealing with a little pain here that's uncomfortable or keeping me from getting some sleep, we'll sit around for a week or two before we go get it checked out, saying, "Oh, it's gonna pass." Or
yeah.
Point in time, if anything isn't feeling well, your body is trying to tell you, "Hey, I need this checked out."
Yeah, that's right. That's right. You know what? You know what, Stu? I would. That's a great, thought you just brought up, and I think it's factual. And I'm happy you brought the church into it, because this is what we also do. Or I have been guilty of it, and that's because of tradition and everything. The Lord's got us.
I'm covered. I'm covered. I'm covered by His blood.
Yeah, and by His stripes, I'm healed. And you know what? That is factual. That is no doubt factual, and I believe that. But the good Lord is the good Lord. He puts those doctors. He puts medicine. He puts different things there for our concern. For our concern. So don't sit here and say that by His stripes I'm healed and I can sit on the couch when He's telling you in His Holy Spirit, when He's telling you get that gut feeling, when everybody on society is telling you need to go to the doctor because that'll help you out. The Lord is putting that doctor's suggestion in your mind. He's not going to come down and hand. It's not going to be any. It can be, Stu. Hear me carefully. It can be, but it's not going to be medicine. I mean, it's not going to be bread from heaven. He's not going to rain down manna like He did once in the children of Israel and depart the Red Sea and all that. He's putting people on earth to help us out. So yes, by His stripes you're healed. Yes, you're whole, but you have to live this practical life, brother. Sorry about that.
No, be sorry. And we're about to move on. But before we move on, it's God that is giving you the headache that you've had daily for the last week to let you know you need to go get checked out because there's something going on. That's from Him. Okay? So you know, I'm hearing about a lot of people that have not brain tumors, but not brain hemorrhaging. Say it again. Yes. I'm hearing about a lot of people in their early 50s getting these aneurysms.
Yes.
Yeah, if you've had a headache for 7 to 10 days, shame on you for not going to get it checked out. You got a headache for a couple hours, that's one thing. You got a headache for one evening, that's one thing. But if you've got a consistent headache for a few days, that's God saying, go to the doctor. Okay?
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
I've put these people in place to help you out.
Don't start praying over the headache, asking God to fix it. He sent it. He's letting you know that you got to get checked out. Hey, man, it's In the Huddle.
Bottom line.
It's In the Huddle with your boy, One Last Few, and Joe Hamilton. This is In the Huddle with Joe Ham. Before we get into the sports, we got.
I want to say one thing before we get into it.
We got time. We got time.
It's going to throw off us slightly, but I want to say this because I was thinking about this last night. Tomorrow, happy June 19th day. Okay, and you know, in Juneteenth, and what I was thinking about why I'm not asking anybody if they're going to grill out on tomorrow. Why I'm not asking anybody what they're going to do on that I think should be a national federal holiday. We do it for the 4th of July when we got away from the British rule, and it's a huge day. It's huge for us as well. This is huge. So now that we need to be educated on what this actually means for us, Ryan Stewart and Joe Hamilton would not be doing this hadn't been for the real free slavery. Not what they said it's supposed to be back a whole 100 years earlier, but the actual freedom. So I don't want to take light of the holiday tomorrow.
Them sons of bitches let us go free, but kept us working and didn't tell us we was free for quite some time.
Quite some time, brother.
Them sons of bitches. Boy, don't get me started. But tomorrow is Juneteenth, and we will be celebrating. I believe President Biden and his regime did make a big hullabaloo of it.
They did. Okay. They did.
But now the way things are being done and the way things are being rolled back and the way books are being removed and the way our history is being denied and removed and ignored and overlooked, it's different. So it won't get the publicity that it's gotten in the past. But tomorrow is Juneteenth. And we do have a cookout going down.
Yeah, there you go.
There's been a couple people that
keep it alive.
Right. There's been a couple people that said, hey, man, what y'all doing for Juneteenth? So as a collective, my wife typically does something called Sunday dinner like once or twice a month where we'll invite a bunch of people over, have 30, 40 people at the house just for a Sunday dinner, watching games, enjoying some spirits and libations, just enjoying each other's company. But that is taking place tomorrow because of Juneteenth. So I'm very glad you brought that up. Happy
music to my ears, brother. That's good stuff.
Happy Juneteenth Eve on today, sir. Last part of business before we get started. I woke up this morning to some terrible news. And this is In the Huddle with Joe Ham. I'm your boy, One Life Stu Ryan Stowe. We'll be getting started here shortly. Appreciate everybody for being here. Y'all please continue to pass the word about the show on Wednesdays, In the Huddle with Joe Ham. How many years did you play with Raleigh Boulware? Or were you gone when Raleigh was a senior?
I was gone, but I definitely played with his brother, Peter. Played against Peter Boulware, his brother.
Okay, so you played against Peter Boulware when you played against Peter. Peter played for Florida State. You played against Peter.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Raleigh was my teammate for a couple of years. A dear friend. As a freshman with no vehicle, Raleigh at one point in time gave me the keys to his Boss Mustang 5.0. White Mustang, beautiful car. He never drove it. So he told me, he dropped the keys in my hands one day and said, hey, man, do me a favor and run up the street and go get social. Okay, Raleigh, no problem. I want to drive that Mustang anyway. When I went and got whatever he needed and came back, he was like, hey, man, you just keep the keys. I said, what do you mean? He said, I don't ever drive it. I can tell you enjoy driving it. So if I ever need to go someplace or I need something picked up, I'll call you and let you know what I need. You help me out. But you just go ahead and keep it. I said, no, I'm not going to keep your car. He said, no, I'm not giving you the car. I'm just allowing you to drive it whenever you want to. I had Raleigh's keys for like 5 months, Joe. 5 entire months. Okay?
You chopping up a little bit over there, Stu. You chopping up, you chopping up a little bit.
My phone is saying this. My computer is saying this. You, not me. So hopefully it'll settle down and get together. Am I clear now? You see me now? Yeah, I don't see you. I'll give Joe a second to get back. It is In the Huddle with your boy, One Last Stu Ryan Stewart. Today, on today's show, In the Huddle, we'll be talking about the NBA Finals. We'll be talking about the injury of star players and or players in significant games on the heels of what took place in the series between the Pacers and the Oklahoma City Thunder with Tyrese Halliburton and his injury in that last game. We'll be talking about NFL minicamps that are underway and taking place right now. And we'll also be talking about the U.S. Open that took place over at Oakmont this past weekend. I got a couple of funny stories about the Oakmont tournament because I was in Denver last week on a golf tournament myself. Hadn't played since November, but I went anyway because I spent my money. And the way I chipped that ball around those greens looked very similar to the players at Oakmont this past weekend. I think Joe is back. Let's get him in. Hammy, okay. I see you now. Are you good?
Yeah.
Okay.
You were a little choppy and you hesitated a little bit, so it's all good, brother. It's all good, my friend.
So back to Raleigh Boulware. I got a message this morning from my line brother that Raleigh Boulware's son passed away.
Man.
So he was dealing with some challenges. He'd been sick for a little while. So I wanted to just let you know that, man, because I know you're a praying man and you're a man of faith and you believe. I know you know Raleigh. So keep that cat and his family in your prayers, man. I mean, even pastors that say, we don't question God or his will over our lives. However, when a parent loses a child, that's not how it's supposed to go down.
No.
It happens all the time, but that's kind of out of order, and it's something that really gives
I shouldn't
parents a hard
bury
time
my
to deal
son.
with.
My son
Right.
should bury me.
Yes.
Is what the saying always goes.
Yes.
It doesn't always work out that way.
Yeah.
And that's the peace of mind. That's why I have to pray, and I will say a prayer for the Bowell family because that he endures peace. Because a lot of people hadn't watched that Straw movie, but that's a perfect sign of when you lose somebody, you never know what everybody's going through. Now, I know that was a movie, but that movie's always come from somewhere too.
I started that during Straw movie and cut that thing off 10 minutes ago.
I would encourage you to finish it because I would encourage you to finish it because I didn't turn it off, but I can see where you turned it off. Like I don't want to deal with this, but it's a message. It's a message in there big time.
Okay, so man. As terrible as that news is about the Boer family and their son, I sent out a text to several former teammates, and friendship is amazing, man. It was a group text with about 10 or 12 people on it. And as people started to respond and hit me up individually, it was very good to have conversations with guys I hadn't talked to in 15, 20, even 30 years in some instances. Bill Noose, Memphis Mike Brown, Dr. Marlon Williams, Eric Billingsley, Lethon Flowers. He doesn't go by Lethon anymore. He changed his name.
I did not know that.
Lethon changed his name legally to Lee. He's no longer Lethon. He's Lee now. So I spoke with Lee for a little while this morning. Hit up Kevin Peoples, Frank Scott, some of these great guys that are Yellow Jacket greats, man. So it was terrible news to share with them. However, it was very good and pleasant to be able to speak with them. Lift Raleigh up in prayer, man, and keep him in your prayers as I'm sure it'll be a tough few days or few weeks for them to come. I'll keep you in the loop with the burial information,
the celebration.
At a minimum, I would love to send something, and prayerfully, if time allows and Daddy duty allows, I would love to have the time to go and celebrate with them. So we'll see, and I'll keep you in the loop. It is in the Huddle with your boy Joe Ham. We've missed the last few weeks because of summer travel.
Yeah. Well, just 1 week.
Well, I thought it was 2. It was just
you was just going last week. We missed last week Wednesday. It was just 1 week. All this ball, we missed 3 games. We missed 3 NBA games.
That's what it is. That's what it is. I missed so many games that I felt as though I missed a couple of weeks.
Right.
But the games that we're referring to being missed was the Pacers and the Oklahoma City Thunder finals. That, in my humble opinion, has been one of the best and most competitive finals that I've seen in quite some time. It's given us immense entertainment. We've talked about the want to have immense entertainment. It's been fast-paced. The refs have been letting the players play. I mean, they're damn near beating each other up. There's been elite shot making. The crowds have been electric in both arenas. Please, Joe, take the floor and share your thoughts with how the finals have played out to this point, and now that the series is 2-2?
No, sir, 3-2. 3-2.
Now that the series is 3-2, please share your thoughts about the series, where you see it going, and how you feel about how the games have been played to this point.
As a sports fan, as a basketball fan, this is everything you want it to be, everything you cracked it up to be, everything that you want a finals to be like. You have star players. You have an MVP. You have a championship winning coach in Rick Carlisle. You have also another champion in Caruso that plays for the Thunder. The only negative I can think about, in a negative just happened last game, but he's been dealing with it throughout the entire playoffs. You want both teams to be injury free. You want both teams to have a, not 100% health record as far as their players, but in the 90 to 95 to maybe 100% health, because we know about a grueling season. You're going to get fatigued. We understand that. But I want Halliburton to be as healthy as he can be. With that being said, man, you're seeing shot making. You're seeing late game execution. You're seeing the fact that a 15-point lead is not really safe, that you have to execute. We're seeing guys come off the bench and, out of nowhere, where did that come from? And because we didn't know it, and that's why I loved about these two matchups in particular, the Indiana Pacers because Nembhard and to a lesser term Siakam, Matt Byrne, and all those guys to a lesser degree, we didn't hear about them, or the natural NBA fan did not hear about them. But guys are making names for themselves right in this playoff run. Yes, I do know, and you know, Stu, but not the average fan would know about Jalen Williams before this series started. A lot of fans wouldn't know that Jalen Williams was an all-NBA player and an all-NBA defensive player as well. So they would think this 40-point eruption that he did Monday night, or averaging 25 points for the last 3 games, would be a surprise. It's a surprise to them, and that's what it's all about. Do you make your name in the NBA Finals? So all those things being said, you got the MVP not shrinking in the moment. He's showing you that if you hadn't seen any of his games and just saw the statistics, who is this guy? He's showing you all those things. And oh, by the way, you alluded to it. Not one time in five games, there's going to be 6 tomorrow night, that I mentioned the refs are taking the game away. I mentioned the refs are that they let them play, or the refs are a ticky-tack foul, or what's going on. There's not a lot of missed calls. And even to that, how many techs? I'm willing to bet on one hand that it hadn't been 5 total techs called. Right. So that also says to me, pretty clean game. No disgruntlement, good for the TV, good for watching. And oh, by the way, these fan bases, they are electric. Man, if you can hear it through the TV. Oklahoma City Thunder, I don't know who has the best crowd, whether it's OKC or Indiana, but it's loud. They dressed in all white. If it's a white out, they have it. Is it a blue out, they have it. It's just been very, very, very entertaining. And my heart just goes out to Indiana and that Halliburton. I do not feel that he's going to be healthy enough to be the true Halliburton.
Before we get to the Halliburton, in Game 5, Jalen Williams exploded for a career playoff high of 40 points. While the MVP, SGA, added 31 points and 10 assists. OKC's combo has put up over 70 points in 5 games. Whoa, I don't think you heard what I just said. The combo of Jalen Williams and SGA have put up 70 points in 5 games.
My goodness.
That's not the bench and what the bench brings to the table.
So that's every game.
That's every freaking game. You got 2 guys on one team that together come up with 70 points. What are you supposed to do with that?
You know, that's a great question. And I want to say something about when people used to ask me, or they say, Joe, what does it feel like to be in a zone? What does it feel like to be one of the best players or the quarterbacks in the ACC? What does it feel like? And I immediately tell them, Brother Stu, that's like, hey, man, there's nothing more satisfying, nothing more just gratifying than you're on the scouting report that this team had a game plan all week to stop you, and that you know they're going to come up with something different, maybe some wrinkles that you didn't see, or unscripted plays that we call it, or unscripted looks, what we call it in football, to try to stop you or stop your team. In this case, it was me as a quarterback. But that's that's one of the things that athlete, that's what they work for. So now SGA and Jalen Williams, the team is going to try to stop you from scoring 70 points. You are a focal point. And to be able to still go out there and do that for 5 games, showing you the work ethic and showing you those guys are unstoppable. Right. Because they're trying to do it with throwing different bodies at them, trying to do it with traps and getting the ball out of their hand, and they're still doing it. And on the flip side, Siakam and Halliburton had not been able to do it. Right. The game plan for the Thunder has been working. We have to shut Halliburton down, because when he scores 20 points and get 10 assists, his team have an outstanding record. Exactly. All right. So that when he does it, then they lose. And all his losses, he's averaging like 12 points. So they know what the recipe to stopping those guys are. Yep. Siakam the same way. So that is huge for those guys to be able to do that. But it comes down to this, dude. 27 times you gave the ball to the Thunder. 15 steals and 12 blocks in one game. Yep. And when you look at it, what's alarming to me when I'm looking at the numbers in between the numbers, that's why when I look and see that the Pacers shot a better percentage than OKC last game, I'm like, man, how does that happen? They didn't shoot better at the 3-point land, but in the 2-point field goal percentage they did. That happens because you get live ball turnovers. That happens because out of those 23 turnovers, the Thunder were able to score 32 points. Yep. That's why that happens. And that's what they've been doing, turning people over, not turning the ball over, turning the ball over. And that has been their recipe so far.
Yeah, defensively, Joe, has been the difference. And this is In the Huddle with your boys, Joe Hamilton and your boy, One Last Two, Ryan Stewart. Defense has been the key. The Thunder forced 22 to 23 turnovers in Game 5, yielding 32 points. You mentioned that a second ago. We talked about this, Joe, because we hadn't done a show on these games, but what we have done is we've been talking about them just about every day on the phone. I don't think I've ever seen a team in the NBA play with as much energy on defense as the Thunder does.
Nope.
They're rolling and running through screens and switching men. And whenever the Pacers find a mismatch, okay, with Halliburton or Siakam at the top of the key, OKC does everything possible to switch and roll and get somebody that can defend the guy with the ball. Their effort is simply outstanding defensively. It's as good as they've been offensively, which we've talked about and we've alluded to. Defensively, you see the work ethic and why they win the games that they win. They bust their testicles,
man,
to play defense every single possession, sir. Share your thoughts on that, Joe.
Well said, brother. Well said. And it's almost that we call in basketball HBO. Help a brother out. Is you very seldom you see at the top of the key, whether it's Halliburton, Siakam, or whoever it is, that they know they have to beat one man, their guy, but in their peripheral, they've seen another guy hanging out. And then look to the left, another guy's hanging out. And oh, by the way, if I get by this guy, there's Hartenstein and Chet Holmgren in the back end. So where can I breathe? And they're throwing different bodies and just the coaching of Dacknold to be able to the game within the game. Take SGA off the ball a little bit to save his energy because he exerts a lot of energy. A part of that defense, what you're talking about, he's not sitting in the corner, not switching, not squatting. No. He had 4 blocks on Monday night. He had 4 blocks on Monday night.
He had 2 of them in about 5 seconds on Monday night.
Yes, he sure did. So everywhere you look in that whole team, and when you mention that, Stu, I got a little bit of chill bumps on my arm because that's pride.
Yeah,
that's want to. Anytime people are going to sit down in that chair and for 24 seconds, that's hard. Anytime you're going to sit in that chair in a defensive stand for 24 seconds and sometimes 48 seconds if they give an offensive rebound or something like that happens, that's pride. That's culture. And oh, by the way, they're very, very young. They're very young. They're under contract. And they're led by their superstar. That's one of those things too. I thought about when you get SGA exerting all that energy on the defensive end, not taking bad shots. And I watch his body language. This is something I watch, and I've always wanted to watch a go-to player.
I'm listening to you. Go ahead.
A go-to player, MVP, a guy that has a lot of accolades. What was his body language when Jalen Williams was going off?
Right.
Was he sitting there trying to get his ball back and trying to say, I should be doing this?
Was he pouting? No.
Was he pouting? No, I saw him a few times, Stu, call out a play, and I don't know their playbook, but because of the play they ran, I'm like, SGA is calling out a play that says this is for Jalen Williams. SGA is calling out a play that says this is a hot hand. Let's ride with him. And he wasn't doing some backdoor things and trying to get the ball back. He was saying, you are on fire. You go work. I need you to help win this game. And that's an unselfish superstar that's all bought in. Yeah, and how can you not follow a leader like that? Sometimes you and I would know, to the average listener to watch a basketball, the body language might not tell you much. Right. But when you're in the corner or you see a guy throw their hand up or shake their head or walk down the court or jog down there or slap the bench when they call a timeout, that's a guy that, something's not sitting well with them.
Right.
You don't quite know what it is, but I'm like, you guys are up 6 points. What you mad about? So those are the things I'm seeing in SGA is that he's all in, brother.
His body language shows true body language of a leader. A lot of guys that are MVPs, when things get a little slow in a game or when someone else is playing well, you see them on the offensive side of the court. If they don't have the ball, they start doing this. Let me get that. Let me. Right. He's not doing that. He don't. Nope. He letting Jalen cook if he's cooking. Okay, don't get me started. His body.
Do you think the OKC? Do you think? And this is just an obvious question. Do you think they've taken any bad shots in this whole series, this 5-game series this far, as a team? Any bad shots?
There hasn't been many bad shots.
There haven't been many, but what I'm trying to say here, Stu, there haven't been many. But when there are bad shots, when somebody does turn the ball over, I don't see anybody with OKC with their head down.
No,
I don't see when the Indiana Pacers are making a run and closing.
They just keep playing ball
down to 2. I mean, that game on Monday night went all the way down to 95-94 or 95 with 2-point lead, 95-93.
Right.
I mean, and I saw no pointing fingers. I didn't see any head in the sand. I didn't see any ultimate team, and it's hard to beat a team on a string like that, and I think they know it.
Their defense has consistently disrupted Indiana's organized chaos offense, limiting 3-point efficiency for Indiana and the Pacers. And when you find yourself down 20, 18, 15, 12 points, you start depending on that 3-ball a whole lot more. Joe, before we move on, let me ask you a question, okay? Do you know how many picks the OKC Thunder have coming up in this 2025 NBA draft, which should be happening here real soon? You know how many picks they have?
I think they have 4 in the first round.
They have 3 in the first round.
Yeah.
And 1 second-round pick. So they got 4 altogether. They have their own first-round pick, a first-round pick from Miami, which is lottery protected, a second-round pick from Atlanta, top 40 protected, and they also have a potential to acquire a 3rd first-round pick from Philadelphia, a top 6 protected, but that pick may not convey this year. Dude, so what we're seeing, I bring that up because what we're seeing is not something that should be a flash in the pan. What we're seeing is a team that is already young, a team that has relatively possibly 4 or 5 early picks in this year's upcoming draft, and a team that plays with the energy of some high schoolers that they may be here for a while.
They are going to be here for a while, and you're talking about our coach is in his 5th year in Dagnall. You're talking about Sam Presti, that some people can go down as a GM as being one of the best in the business for a long, long, long time. Remember, he's the same GM that was there with James Harden, Kevin Durant, and Russell Westbrook. The same GM that had Carmelo Anthony on that team for a second and Paul George for a second, that had Serge Ibaka. Okay, now I would say this too. Would you trade, or would you have traded, just say 3 or 4 years ago, or who was the better player 3 or 4 years ago between Paul George and SGA? Because I watched the clip. The other day that the great coach Doc Rivers was talking about when he's the head coach at the Los Angeles Clippers, and him and Sam Cassell was talking. He or they did not want to get rid of SGA. A lot of people don't remember that SGA came from the Clippers in a trade that it was for Paul George. Paul George was with the OKC then, and he went to the Clippers. And Doc Rivers and all that now was like, man, we knew he was going to be a superstar. We knew he was going to be on his way. But Sam Presti, and I bring that up to go back to his GM brilliance. Let me get this young up-and-coming star. Let me get a lot of picks to have something in my cupboard to be able to have assets. Draft Jalen Williams, draft Chet Holmgren, trade for Hartenstein. All those moves set him up. And now it looks like he's a winner. He's a genius. And the projection of SGA is a genius, a move on his part as well. Big time move.
My comment to that is, I don't want revisionist history where we overlook how much of a dog Paul George was. I don't want that.
Yep.
Paul George, he's a player. He's a very
that's
good player.
That's what I asked 3 years ago. Who would you pick?
He's a very good player, and I understood that trade. I got that trade then, but what can't also be overlooked is the effectiveness of management in OKC to say, I want that dog. This young man has some attributes that will benefit us. And don't forget, this is the same people that at one point in time had what's the beard?
James Harden.
Had Harden, had Durant, had Westbrook. It's the same group of people that had that talent in their situation. Traded all pieces of that talent to build what they have now, to acquire assets for what they have now. They know what they're doing, is my point.
And this will top it off. Again, Sam Presti is one of the top GMs in the National Basketball Association, but this will solidify all his moves, which you just alluded to. Where's OKC? All these moves they're making, all these picks. When is it going to finally pay off? Right. This year might be the year it's going to finally pay off.
I think so.
I think it's over tomorrow night.
Before we get to that, Tyrese Halliburton sprained his right calf in Game 5, returning to the record just 4 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists on an 0-for-6 shooting night. His availability right now for Game 6 is a tad bit uncertain. My question to you is, do you play an injured player or not? If Halliburton is not 90 to 95%, do you risk further injury on that player on this moment, because you've got to maximize this moment? What do you do, to play or not to play your injured star in Halliburton?
I play him. I play him. I definitely play him. But I don't play him being ignorant. I don't play him being sloppy. If I'll see him warming up before the game on the practice today, the walkthrough or the shoot around today, and he's gimpy, I'm not going to rule him out today. Tomorrow, when we get in the shoot around and I say, hey, man, run me a few suicides or gases up and down. Let me see you shuffle. Let me see you change direction. If he says he's good to go, I'm going to have to let him play. If the doctors now say it, or trainers, or in a second opinion was to say this is too risky, I got to trust the doctors. Because, again, there's going to be very few players that say, I'm not playing. Coach, let me rest up. I was surprised about Steph Curry in the well, I don't know how it went down, whether it was management, whether it was Steph saying, I just can't go. I'm in the 60 percentile. I can't hurt my team, whether it was that or why he didn't decide to play the rest of that series when he hurt his hamstring. But, again, you have to test it. You have to test it. And I like to put the onus back on the players sometimes, too. At some point in time, you're going to have to be selfish in being unselfish, meaning that if Tyrese Halliburton don't think he can give the best effort, stay in front of the defenders, on the offensive or defensive side of the ball, be explosive with his, crafty ball handling, I got to tap my head. This is not punking out. This is not you don't have the guts or the will to want to win. This is me saying that I'm hurting my team being out here. Sure. So that's what I'm looking for. If you can go give it a try, if you 90 to 95, which is not optimal, give it a try. Now, as it goes on the coaches, I would have somebody up top in the booth. I would have somebody on the sideline looking and say, tell me exactly. Your two eyes are going to be on Halliburton. The minute you think that he's not able to help us and he is actually hurting us, we're going to have to sit him down. Yep. And you will know early in the game, the first quarter, whether he can play the rest of the game or whether he's going to be a liability. Because I have in my back pocket, at least for Game 5, that, McConnell played very, very well.
I was just about to say. Listen, I'm sorry. It's in the huddle with your hand, but I was about to say to you. Yeah. I understand you wanting your dog in Halliburton out there. He's one of the stars on your team, even though he's showing us glimpses of really not being as productive as you'd want your star to be. But when you got McConnell on that bench, coming off that bench and dropping 18 points, 4 and 4, when you've got him who consistently has done a good job whenever he's been on the field or the court, not turning the ball over, it's hard to put an injured guy out there that ain't bringing nothing to the table like Halliburton did on Monday night when you've got McConnell on that bench that's willing to bring some substance to your team. I want to set Halliburton after that first quarter and continue to let McConnell do what he was doing, in my humble opinion. And another thing. Another thing. It's easy for me to say that now after the fact. Okay? Yeah. So I'm not chastising you or disagreeing with you, but if he can't go or he's not showing the effort or the deliverance that he typically shows, and you got a guy that not just in game 5, but in every game that he plays in this postseason and regular season, steps up and brings game to the table, you got to sit the injured guy down. We need healthy bodies in this finals to help us get what we need to get done.
Well said, Coach. But you can't put the injured guy down. All right. You can't bench him for the rest of the game because, again, the trainers are saying he can't injure himself any worse. Halliburton is saying to you, I'll fight through it. You've seen this entire playoffs because I think he first injured that calf in his calf in the Cleveland series. He re-injured it against New York Knicks and still came through and was able to fight through some of those injuries. So you trust that he maybe be able to fight through this one as well. But that's why it's such a fine line with me, Stu, is because I don't want to question Coach Carlisle, but I would have done the same thing. Let me ride with this hot hand because my go-to guy is not producing. However, I will say this. It's going to be a different ball of wax with TJ McCollum now that you are big time on the scouting report. Agreed. Now, I'm not saying he wasn't on the scouting report before because what you said, there are facts that he's been performing off the bench, coming in and, spelling minutes. It's a difference between playing 26 minutes a game and 36 minutes a game, that kind of role. So when now you're a focal point and they're honing in on your strengths and your weaknesses, forcing you to be uncomfortable because their scouting team is, put the focal point on you. That is why I look forward to the next game and seeing what TJ McConnell can do. Last game, I think I might agree with you. Although he's my star, you're not producing. Let me make a change because this is not the regular season. I can't afford to give away games. Right, bottom line.
Right. Isaiah Harkenstein, former Knick. Obi Toppin, former Knick. DiVincenzo, former Knick. Sir, I'm sick to my damn stomach. Okay?
Hey, you brought that up, man. You brought that up, so I'm a pile on.
Please.
You brought that up, so I'm a pile on. And not even thinking what you just said. And now y'all trying to beg other teams to talk to their coach.
We still ain't got a coach.
Now y'all begging the Houston Rockets to talk to Ime Udoka. Y'all begging the Dallas Mavericks to, check in on Jason Kidd.
The Knicks don't deserve to be talked about right now.
And the lowest of the lowest, y'all called Atlanta to talk about Quinn.
Give us anybody.
So you said it. So you said it. You said it when it happened. And you were wondering, they must have a plan to get rid of Thibodeau.
No
they
plan.
Must have somebody, a written agreement, a written hand, or a handshake with somebody to say, "No, I'm your next coach." No. They did all this, Stuart, with not a plan,
with nothing, with no plan at all. And again, they don't deserve to be talked about, so we won't. However, in coaching, all you want your coach to do yearly is to get better. Mm-hmm. If they hadn't won any games, hey, coach, can you get me 2 games next year? You find a way to win 2 or 3. Hey, coach, can you get me to 5 or 6 next year? You find a way to get 5 or 6. Hey, coach, can we compete for a title, a division title, conference title? Can you get to a conference title? Hey, coach, you got us to a conference finals. Hey, can we win? You just want to get better, which is what Tibbs did. So now, on the heels of getting to the Eastern Conference Finals where you haven't been in 25 years, a coach that's gotten better every year he's been there, a coach that you just gave $30 million to a year prior, you fire him. And now 2 weeks later, you had made a hire because you had nothing in the cupboard. You had no plan. You had no strategy. Dolan just came in the building and said, fire Tibbs, I'll see y'all later. That's why we are where we are. And real quick, on the heels of that, Joe, this isn't the huddle with Joe Ham. On the heels of that, you're begging all these teams to talk to their overqualified coaches that are doing a great job when those coaches that you want to talk to, and you're being denied, but those coaches have seen you fire the guy that's done a great job.
Oh, man, good point.
Why the hell am I leaving Houston if I'm Udoka? Why the hell am I wanting to leave Atlanta? Why am I going to jump off this hot moving train to jump on your cold train? And I just saw you fire a guy that's done a great job. Please explain that to me, Joe.
Oh, I can't, man. You got a robe on now, and I'm listening to your sermon. I would add to this, and you turned down, and you said that you're not interested in one of the top 10, top 15 players of all time.
Don't do that to me. Don't do that to me.
So even before Kevin Durant told you, Kevin Durant said the Knicks is one of the teams I would like to go to among others. He said that. But you don't want to entertain that at all. I mean,
with no coach. And you ain't got no coach. I'm laughing to keep him crying, Joe.
Man.
Because my team is a hot mess. Hey, man, before we move on, we got a few other things to get to. Just that quick, man. There's only about another 10, 15 minutes in the show. Okay, I don't believe we got off track on the thing. Is the series over? Is the Pacers Thunder series over?
Yes, it's over. Yes, it's over. And there's one reason, and one particular reason I say it's over, because of Halliburton. If Halliburton was healthy like he was in game 1 or game 2 and didn't restrain his calf, I would say it was going to go 7 games, because the Pacers are at home with that electric crowd. They're going to feed off that energy, and we know about the role players, how they typically show up at home. I would have picked those guys. But with the unhealthy Halliburton, and when I say unhealthy, there's no way he's going to get in the 95th percentile of health by tomorrow night. So he's not going to be himself, okay? So now the load of dishing and facilitating is going to be on TJ McCollum, and he's going to have a focal point on him. So where's the scoring going to come from? Who are you going to get? Who's going to be the unsung hero? And, oh, by the way, remember now, Halliburton is a two-way player as well. So you're not going to take that just the offense away from your team. It's also the defense. So with that being said, I think it's over, and OKC will be the champion, and it's going to be a start of a I don't want to crown them early, but a semi-dynasty in the making. Homegrown dynasty in the making. You went a little mute, bro.
I went mute because I had my phone, my screen muted. My bad. We're going to disagree again. I don't think there's no way in the world, if he's not 85% or more, I'm putting Halliburton on that court.
There's no way?
No way.
Oh, man. Stu, you said 85% or more. 85% or more is somewhat healthy.
Right. That's my point. The way OKC is playing, and the importance of every single game, especially this last game, you take one more loss, it's over. You can't have a gimp on the floor in the finals. You got to have somebody that can give you 90% of everything they got. If Halliburton isn't able to move or push off on that leg, he's a detriment to the team. OKC's defense is too good. So you got to go with a healthier guy that can move and put a little bit of stress on the defense that is overwhelming to this point.
Yes.
I would start McConnell. TJ McConnell would get the start.
Hey, well, this is the thing, Stu. Boy, a great point. Here's the deal.
You can't be half-assing it in the finals. We're playing for it all. There is no next week.
Outstanding point. Here you go, though. If you're going to go that route, then you don't dress Tyrese Halliburton. You don't even play him at all. If you're going to go that route for starting TJ McCollum, then you don't play Halliburton at all. And my whole thing is, to your point, my only thing to your point, Stu, and I'm agreeing somewhat, is that I'm not saying just because you start Halliburton, he must play 30 minutes. I'm saying you try him out, you feel him out. Is the old-fashioned college try. Give it the college try. If you see and he's cool in the warm-ups and he's somewhat healthy to go, that ball is tipped, I'm going to test him. First 7 minutes, first quarter, I'll know who he is.
Man,
but I'm not going to have...
They're going to be up 12 damn points, OKC. You don't have a whole quarter to give them.
There's no way if I have my star at 85 to 90% or even 90% that I'm not starting him. I am starting him, and I'll make a decision there. I want to bring up a quick point too, man. I thought about it. I heard it on TV. This is some of the same thing that went on with Kevin Durant when they were playing the Toronto Raptors. I don't know if you recall, but I'll bring you into remembrance. Kevin Durant, was dealing with a calf injury, and he was fighting through that calf injury. And a lot of people saying that he should sit down and not play. And what happened to him the next game? Achilles gone. Now he's out for a year and a half with that, because when that calf is weak, then it goes down to that Achilles. Right. Now I'm gonna knock on wood. I don't want that for Halliburton at all. Right. But if you're trying to, I'm definitely not doing that. But if you're trying to be cautious with your franchise player, or you're trying to err on the side of caution, you might want to sit him down just with experience of what happened. I'm not saying the same exact injury with Kevin Durant, but it was a calf injury. You might want to be cautious. But if he says he can go and the doctors throw a thumbs up to him, you try and see what he can give you. So you definitely have to try.
As two former teammates at Georgia Tech, as two former professional players in the National Football League, Halliburton's going to say, "Put me in, coach."
Yes,
you know that.
Yeah, right.
And you don't have a quarter in the finals to give OKC because you're trying to see if your gimp ain't gimping. He's a gimp right now. Not because he wants to be, Joe, but he's a gimp because he's hurt. Mm-hmm. And the way OKC plays defense and the way SGA and Williams can blow past anybody on offense, your guy has got to be able to move. And he can't. Oh yeah. And his backup has come on the floor in his absence in TJ McConnell, and he's shown proficiency. He hadn't shown the ability to be Halliburton, but he's shown proficiency because he can get buckets. He can handle the ball. He can move his feet. I don't think they've got a quarter to blow, Joe. If you give OKC a quarter and you bench Halliburton and put in McConnell, you're going to be 15 points down already, 12 points down already. And that's an insurmountable lead when you've got an offense that scores the ball the way that they do.
Fair point. Not to win an argument or get points, but I want to.
We're not arguing, sir. We're not arguing.
Because you remember this. I cannot remember the lefty for your New York Knickerbocker team. Was it Bob Lanier who dragged his foot in that last game and shot the lefty? Remember now, that was just to start the game, to tip off. I think he shot the first shot and made it, energized the crowd, energized his team. They went on and won that championship. So maybe at home is a spark like that. Why I say give them a try. I mean, listen, what you're saying, your points are valid, and I think they're correct. But again, it's something about having your leader out try going forward. It's just something about that to me.
In the Huddle with Johan, I'm your boy, One Live Stew, Ryan Stewart. Quick reminder to catch the 2 live stews tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock right here on the same platform, Stewart Media and Entertainment on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. You can catch us. We appreciate y'all for being here. I'll read some of the chat, Joe, before we move on. DJ Chuck says Rick Carlisle has to play Obi Toppin more. In Game 6, he gives OKC trouble with his athleticism and knocking down shots. Jungle Brother says SGA is PG in his prime, but more durable. I agree. Derek Bradley says 2 more games left. If he can pull off an Isaiah Thomas, move and not hurt himself even more, or the team, let him play. Nah, we disagree. Joe kind of agrees with you, but I disagree. DJ Chuck says Tyrese Halliburton definitely needs to play in Game 6, but other players have to step up as well. I agree. And we also talked about KD a second ago. My man DJ Chuck also has to say KD is no longer in his prime. I don't think teams are willing to give up multiple picks for him.
His numbers have not dropped.
Your comments first, and then I'll share mine on that.
Yeah, he's no longer in his prime as far as 37 years of age. I understand that, and Father Time is going to win more often than not. But his numbers did not drop. He shot over 50% from the field. He missed 20 games. In the games that he missed, the team was 3-17. When he played, they were like 5 games over 500. Still was 26 points. His defense is still exceptional. He's a 2-time champion. So, yeah, you have to be careful of how you're going to give up the farm and put your, franchise behind the 8 ball. But he is definitely he hadn't dropped off yet at all.
For the record,
not at all.
For the record, the Knicks don't have a farm to give up because they gave up 5 first-round picks. Hey, Joe, man, you laughing at me. You're not laughing with me. So, okay.
I'm laughing at Dolan, man.
Here's the point I want to make. And I like Bridges. I don't think he was an instrumental part with our success this year. I don't think he was 4 to 5 first-round picks, substantial, but right. I do think he was an integral part of what we're doing.
I do. One quick thing with that, though, Stu. I mean, You might disagree. The Knicks are, the Big Apple, or I can talk about it a brief second. I don't know why you have to make a change or had to make a change. I would have felt comfortable that not being my team, so I'm outside looking in, running Thibs back and running the roster back.
Yeah, no question.
I mean, goodness.
No yeah.
I mean, so.
Yeah. On KD, before we talk about a possible trade to the Knicks, on KD, I want to remind everybody that's listening that in 2025, things are different for older players. There's a handful of players that you rarely see smoking a cigar with a cup in their hand with alcohol. One of them is LeBron James. One of them is Steph Curry. The other is KD. All right. Steph Curry and LeBron are both older than KD. So in 2025, with hyperbaric chambers, with these guys eating right and having training and having chefs that prepare their foods with no sugar, no salt, no all this stuff, I can see KD having another 4 to 5 strong years. He still gets buckets.
Yes. I'll add to this.
So last thing I'll say is,
we
don't have the assets to trade for him. We've got players, but you want to, like you said, you want to keep the nucleus of the team together. However, we do have Big Cat. Big Cat makes more money than KD. Okay? So, in essence, we wouldn't have to get into the picks or moving Brunson, big body, or moving. No. It could be a fair swap if they were to shake down Big Cat. My question to you is that something you'd be willing to do? Shake down a younger Big Cat for a Kevin Durant?
Yes. And now it goes back to y'all don't have a coach, so I don't even know what kind of offense is gonna be ran. I don't know the system. I don't know the culture. So I don't know any of those things. So, but you are taking a big man out of there. So I trust KD a little bit more. But I wanted to add to your point about, in 2025, KD is not 6'3". KD is not 6'5". Like if a Derrick Rose breaks down or an Allen Iverson breakdown, when they are dependent on speed, they're dependent on explosiveness. Right. That's a little different when you're getting up there in age like that. Look at the guys that's up there in age. LeBron is 6'9", 250. Yeah. He doesn't have to blow by you anymore and go strictly on athleticism to get buckets. Yeah. KD is 6'10", 6'11", so he will still be able to shoot on top of you. He'll still be able to get to the free throw line. So that decline is not going to be as substantial as somebody who needs their quickness and jumping ability to survive. That's the big deal with that. He's 6'9", 6'10".
Yeah. Couple of very good points, man. Let's get right here real quick. Jungle Brother. Rule number 1, never give up assets for a superstar in his 15th year. I agree. unless it's a superstar. And KD is. I agree. I agree with younger brother, but we debated the superstar versus star situation with Halliburton. When I say Kevin Durant's name, ain't no debate. He's a superstar in this league.
No.
So
but again, assets, you're gonna have to give up something.
You're gonna have to give up something.
Because again, Kevin Durant is not a free agent.
Right.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, so.
And I told Doug on the show on Monday, the reason why KD is saying he'd be down to play in Miami, San Antonio, and or Houston is because both of those teams, all three of those teams, are in areas that don't have state tax. So now that he's getting long in the tooth, his money will be a little bit longer in those three areas. Now, the fact that he is put out there that he'd be willing to be traded to those teams, even though he does not have a no trade clause. So Phoenix can trade him wherever the hell they want.
Yeah, yes.
But the
Phoenix,
fact that he puts those three teams out there now weakens the opportunity that those three teams have when it comes to trade value, because they know that's where he wants to go there. So that kind of hampers Phoenix. Yes.
And it's all about the state tax right now, I think.
Yeah.
It's all about the state tax because the Miami Heat, they're not right around the corner. The KD does not make them a championship team.
Yep.
Now, Houston are a few pieces away, that nucleus, in a very, very good coach. Now, I must say that, Spags, he's a great coach too. So down in Miami, but he's not that away. I look at San Antonio. Kevin Durant might be the second option in San Antonio.
Oh, there's no question. It's Wemby's team.
Okay, yeah.
It's Wemby's team. But that's a great second option to have with Wemby if Wemby's not making play.
And a third option is Fox. Remember, they got Fox as well. So I can see why he wants to go to that team. They're right around the corner.
In the huddle with Joe Ham, as we get ready to wrap things up, man. Outstanding job today, Joe.
Yes, sir, brother.
Mandatory mini camps for the NFL teams until training camp. There's some sound advice given to players about having a month off. Stay in shape. No means no. Study your playbook. Talk to me about, the challenges that some of these players will be facing as they get out of mini camps and get a little freedom for the next month prior to coming back to training camp, Joe.
As a head coach, I want a locker room that's full of veterans, or as many veterans that I can get, that are able to, mentor some of the young guys about a pocket full of money, being able to go to Puerto Rico, going to Mexico, the Bahamas, go wherever you want to go on your vacation, and host parties. And you would like to have fun because it's a grind. The whole NFL season is a grind. You want to get some time away. But what the time away looks like. Remember, your job is to come back here ready to rumble. We don't want to have to get you in shape. Some teams have a mandatory conditioning test. You do not want to be the one that fails that. Some teams have a weight clause that you have to come in at a certain weight that they say that's what we want you to come back in. Please don't miss that weight. I came and I was drafted when Herm Edwards and Tony Dungy was on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They like to preach that nothing good happens after midnight. They like to preach that Herm Edwards would say one car, one chain, one girlfriend. Okay, they like to preach the fact that, hey man, the minute you hear a young lady says no, even to a dinner, even to a drink, even to a kiss, that means no, and you run as fast and as far as you can possibly run. You have some guys that is going to be dependent on whether you're coming back, because you remember the story about Vic, and he was getting challenged a little bit to see if he studied his playbook, studied his notes. They gave it to him, and they asked him about what was on it. And they kind of played a trick on him because it was blank. Right. I mean, they found out that nothing was on it. He didn't look at it.
And also, so if they give you what's the young quarterback in Arizona?
Kyler Murray.
Kyler Murray. They gave him the tablet with all the information on it and all the film on it for him to look at it, knowing good and well that if he logs on, they're going to be able to see he was logged on and how long he was on. He never logged on.
He never logged on. Don't hurt yourself. Yeah. Don't hurt yourself with somebody giving you homework to do and you come back not knowing that homework assignment. Right. Rookies, get in your playbook because it's going to move so much faster. They had you a little bit, instructing you and very lenient. It's no time to be lenient when he comes back. So I'm intrigued about making sure you don't get in trouble, making sure you do the things you want to do, but come back to camp, NFL camp, like it's a professional business, ready to win a job.
In other words, Joe Ham, as we wrap things up, man, your boy JJ Spawn went from missing every cut to a life-changing moment and putt, winning at Oakmont for the U.S. Open. Sir, I played in Denver this past week. We played Colorado. We played Denver TPC, Colorado TPC. We played Dancing Bear, and we played the Ridge at North Pines. Three amazingly beautiful courses, but 72 holes, sir. Played Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. The rough at these courses were so rough, but they were nothing compared to Oakmont this past week. Sir, give me your thoughts on JJ Spawn and his victory at the U.S. Open.
I think having your wife and your kids there to settle you down. I love the story that I don't love the story that his daughter was a little ill, but the fact that he was able to go to CVS, get electrolytes, get crackers that we all heard about to make sure you get your fluids and hydration in, that he was able to take his mind off of just the pressure of competing that day. I love the fact that he had adversity early. It wasn't going his way, 3 straight bogeys, and then to sink a putt to win it at Oakmont, to have your life changing. I saw his wife talk to his young daughter. I read her lips. She said, "Daddy won. Daddy won." So all that going from one day when you're waking up to nobody knows your name. Yes, you've been on the tour a long time, but to have that New York tour on SportsCenter, Good Morning America, to all those rounds, NBC, it's just gratifying. And what it tells me, I can share that story to anybody. That's a golfer, and I understand that, but it permeates throughout sports.
I agree.
Anything can happen if you meet that opportunity with preparation.
Mocha Bella, I love you, lady. I love you. Thank you for being here. Can you say something about my Florida Panthers? Congratulations, Mocha. They're balling. Congratulations.
And I can say there's a dynasty is being built. Yeah. And next year, I've read that they're going to be the favorite to three-peat. So shout out to the Panthers. And they don't have the best player in the world. Right. Congratulations, Mocha. Happy for y'all down there in Florida.
And Ernest McCoy will be our last one, man. It's a wrap. Injury versus hurt. If you're injured, sit him. McConnell can give 14 to 15 points. Can't risk Achilles and entire 2026 season. Ernest McCoy, thank you. I agree.
Yeah.
Outstanding job today, man.
This is not the regular season, though, man. Goodness gracious, man. But my takeaway from you today is you humbled me, and you took me from 98 players perspective. I mean, a 98 percentile, just thinking as a player, more, because I'm going to want to play. And sometimes you got to make the decision for that player. Sometimes you have to.
A dog, a real dog is going to be willing to risk that calf turning into an Achilles. And Halliburton's a dog.
Yeah.
There's no way that someone of that importance and that significance for the franchise, there's no way that if he has the option to play injured or not, he's going to say, I want to go. His team needs him. Yeah. It reminded me to tell you the story about when I broke my third metacarpal in Detroit versus Green Bay or Chicago. I forgot which team it was. Coach said, oh, man, looks like it might be broken. Let's get that thing taped up. I said, taped up for what? I'm done. I'm not going back out there today. Taped up? Man, you crazy, Coach. It's all over. Y'all can take my
that's
helmet.
Wisdom.
Yeah,
that's wisdom.
Take my helmet. Yeah. No, I can take my helmet.
Then 2 weeks later, y'all cut me because I got bad film out there.
Right. Yeah. No, I couldn't afford it. And I made it the rest of the year, but they cut my ass after that third cut that next year. Everybody in the chat room, thank you. Happy Juneteenth Eve to all of y'all.
Yes, sir.
Sure you celebrate and spend some time with family tomorrow and on Juneteenth, man. And remember our heritage and our history and those folks that gave so much for us to be able to have a Juneteenth. So again, happy Juneteenth Eve. Y'all enjoy the day tomorrow. Everybody in the chat, thank y'all for communicating with us. Thank y'all for talking. Thank y'all for chopping it up. Thank y'all for giving us ideas. Y'all remember to pass the word, man. Every single Wednesday, especially this summer, we're going to try to get this show done sometime around 12 and or before 12. We started at 10 today. I'm thinking that 11 may be the optimal time. But again, We'll let you know by you subscribing to the network. So whenever there is a show coming on, you will be prompted to know that we're coming on. Bogabella, thank you for telling us we've had a great show. We did enjoy it. A+ to everybody in the chat. A+ to you, Joe Ham. And God is good all the time, and all the time God is good. If you don't know him, you need to find him and show him love, because that's all he's showing you. Tomorrow, 7 o'clock, your boys Doug and Ryan start the 2 Live Stews, and the 2 Live Stews experience will be going down at 7 a.m. Y'all, please pass the word. We look forward to seeing y'all then. Peace and blessings, y'all. Y'all make it a great day, and we'll see y'all tomorrow.